Hello, you didn't think it could happen, but here we are, episode 3 of the Foul Play podcast. It's also a vodcast up on YouTube, showing off some awesome overlays that we've purchased to bring you the best in video entertainment. And tonight, we are continuing... Well, the pilot is done. I mean, you guys did your first mission. We're continuing on a little bit, just still kind of tasting the waters, you know. Our first 2 videos are doing pretty good. The audio quality and everything is, you know, some tweaking the podcast aspect, but I think the main thing is continuity. We said we were going to do this AP, and we finally got around to a pilot, and now we're finally doing this again, and we are going to try and get this going as much as possible. Cannot promise a weekly show. Bi-weekly, monthly, you know, we'll see as it goes, but as we finish off some of our other network stuff, and as you show interest, hey, email us, put a comment in the video, say, this is the one I want to see. I want to see this more than the other one, that type of thing. Let us know how you feel about this show, and you want to give it priority, and we will shift our focus right here. So, going around the house, revising his role as the Damphir Oracle, Nico Anatoly. Matt Witt is in the house tonight.
A good evening, everybody.
His right hand, or colleague, as one says at the university, they're the University of Cheliax, Professor Niles Cronin, played by Ryan Messina, is in the house tonight.
Greetings, everybody.
We have his shadow, his ward, the guy he's sort of looking after, the guy that's not all there in his head, and yet when he gets into deep thought mode, all up in his head, you know what I'm saying, then no one is more introspective than Garion the Butcher, played by Frank Hamilton tonight.
Yeah, that's me.
Revising her role as Simri Stalish, the party tag-along NPC, we have the talented and very, 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 very pretty Alex Hamlin, /Ball, is in the house.
Hello, everybody.
And joining the party after the pilot, because we didn't need 5 people, we could do it with 3 players and an NPC, maxing out the party to 5 for the meantime. We have an Inquisitor, a Tiefling. Picture Hellboy with a great big grimoire of a Bible, who seems to know everything about the Asmodean religion and keeps an eye even on the Asmodeans themselves, playing Tithe, the Tiefling Inquisitor with the living grimoire archetype. Mr. Joe Gibson is in the house tonight, joining us.
Hello, hello.
So, without further ado, I shall turn the show over to our NPC benefactor, who Simri introduced us to recently, Mr. Rizlargo. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Foul Play podcast. That's it? That's all you have to say? At this particular time. Okay, well then, so much for that. On with the show. It is morning, the day after... Frank, stop rolling dice, you're killing me. The day after our last mission, you were rewarded handsomely with signature masterwork weapons and enough booze to even keep a half-giant happy. Around the crack of noon, later in the day, as it were, Simri rouses you from the parlor, urges you guys to get cleaned up because Rizlargo would like to discuss a second job. What do you do?
Well, given this circumstance, I pack up my portable alchemy set. I put on pause the experiments I was undergoing, and I follow Simmery.
Okay. I picture you sort of at the top of the couch, taking a little bit of toenail from our half giant, a little bit of possibly a little bit of hair samples, and that type of thing. Working your way over the damn fire.
Those.
Oh, you have those.
That's so 2 weeks ago.
Oh, sorry. Sneaking around at night.
But boiling them down is completely acceptable.
And tedious work, so.
It takes time. These toenails are thick.
Very well. A short time later, we find ourselves back upstairs in the office of Res Largo, where once again the shaded screen is set up. A peculiar canine creature is lounging, but keeping one eye on you guys at the far side of the room, and not standing next to the desk as if representing Res Largo, but staring intently into the fireplace on the side wall. The extra large, broad-shouldered tiefling who introduced himself as Tithe resides, pondering his giant, black-covered, iron-bound and chained to himself grimoire, while periodically gazing into the flames. "Ah! My friends, please, enter," Reslargo bids you. As you shuffle back in, "I trust you rested well?"
Yes, I was quite comfortable. Thank you for the hospitality.
The rooms were very much adequate.
The bed is too small, but Garion is used to the floor.
Garion, you must not complain to our host.
You all notice that besides the scene, a small black lacquered box sits on the table before the paper screens. Once you've made yourself comfortable, Res Largo explains the situation of the next job he has for you. "With the number of veterans who live in the town, it is not surprising that there's a church of Immode. But there might not be one much longer. If Tilaveria Alamar," he emphasizes the word with great personal distaste, "its priestess does what I believe she has in mind." You notice Reslargo's silhouette clasps shadowy hands behind the paper screens. "There's growing unrest in the Empire, and not just in Pezek and along the Hell Coast. Many of Immode's faithful have begun speaking more boldly of the monarchy's vices and the rights of the citizens. They seem to believe that this Andorian and the people have only to reach out to seize power, but they are wrong. This is Cheliax, not Andoran, and we know where true power lies. Still, Fifth Sword Knight Alamar is gathering all who would listen for a sermon in front of her church this very late afternoon. He turns his head to a window that's obviously behind the screen, illuminating him from behind and actually casting said shadow, as if checking the time. Only 2 short hours from now. I don't know what she has in mind, but I suspect some revolutionary claptrap that can only sow the seeds of confusion and frustration amongst Longacre citizens. This is contrary to my wishes. So, I'd like you to attend this rally. In the box are sashes marked with the insignia of our local lord, Archbaron Fex. Wear them. Remind people that the lord of this town is not without supporters, and see what transpires. Afterward, Simri will report back to me. In return, you will all receive double what you did last night. Simri steps forward, takes the box, and stands in the doorway looking at you guys expectantly, like the obvious answer is yes, and let's get on with this. What do you do?
So let me get this straight. You're going to pay us double what you gave us for the last job to basically go to a gathering wearing a sash.
I want you to make your presence known. You don't necessarily have to interact directly with the citizens, but if you are approached, tell them that you are
Preoccupied.
are supporters of our true lord, the Archbaron. Observe what happens. Gauge their reactions. And you notice the head sort of tilts towards the Inquisitor from this point on, and it almost as if he's directing a lot of this towards him. Gauge their reactions. See what they are whispering, their repose, their candor, during and afterwards. Simri will report back to me when you're done. And tomorrow...
Excellent.
Double.
I'm all for this. Get up and...
Okay. Are there any other questions? And the head turns back to Simri as if to, notice to her, it's okay. I'll talk some more. Anyone?
What?
These rules are applicable to everyone?
Yes. I don't want you to directly cause trouble. Of course you can defend yourselves, but this is probably a matter where diplomacy will get you further than inciting a riot. And also, we don't want to sort of fuel the fire. If you are the first to make a move or cause trouble directly, it will cast a ill light on the Archbaron. We simply wish to remind the people that there are more choices in life than what the Asmodeans and those who worship Imode present. Religion is a fine thing, but people have power, and people live with the people they rule.
But if the Archbaron were to be perceived as defending himself,
I'd say he'd have every right.
then we are of agreement.
Again, head
Finishes.
towards... Sorry, go ahead.
Thank you. Simri finishes giving Nico his sash, and then, with the professor seemingly on board as well, she turns to him, begins fitting him with his sash, saying, I knew you guys would make the right decision. I told you, this is a very profitable venture.
When weighted against society, decisions tend to come rather rapidly and easily, I have found.
Gentlemen, back in the parlor, after handing out sashes from everyone, or for everyone, from the small lacquered box, there's also something embroidered, not just in the sash, but sort of a brooch attached to each sash. A local knowledge, a knowledge nobility from anyone?
Nope, I got history.
Yeah, knowledge and logo. All right. Dukin. 16.
I'll make that check. Garion pauses for a moment. 15.
You're
Bravo.
doing very good, Karen. Very good.
Ah, yes. I've seen that before.
The brooch, Garion, has a pair of fighting stags with bloody antlers. It is already affixed to the sash that Simri is passing out to each of you. It is the symbol of House Fex, belonging to Archbaron Fex.
Thex, like Thex?
No, Fex. Fex as in Felix expects.
Oh, effects.
Xenophobia. Yeah, no. Yeah. He's, as you can tell by your the knowledge and nobility checks.
All right. Do you share this knowledge with everyone?
Me? How's Vex? I butcher many of their animals. That's all he says.
He laughs and trails.
Well then, Simri, shall we? When is this gathering? You said this afternoon.
You have 2 hours.
How far is it to get to the gathering?
Not far. 10-ish minute walk kind of thing. We're not very far.
Okay.
Itself. Actually,
I take an hour to play patty cakes with Garion.
like here in the parlor, or like on
No.
your way.
Yeah.
Look at his
No.
hands.
Uh-uh.
You have tiny hands like a child. How do you do things?
I
So
take my
small.
time, Garion.
Simri suggests that we all head into town for some hangover cures and to begin integration into the crowds. So when the assembly does begin, we're already in proper positions to show our strength for the Baron.
Oh, this is very, very good idea.
Oh, Garion, you win yet again.
Because your hands are so tiny, like
They
a
are.
child.
They are. Perhaps then I should have to buy you a drink in compensation for your victor.
I was going to drink your drink anyway, so...
My drink is
Sure.
too small for your big winning hands.
Who needs a hangover cure if you're just always drunk?
She says, flashing what's left of last night's bottle at you guys.
Oh, yes. I am quite thirsty.
Come along.
Yes, let us check out the town's finest establishment.
Ah, yes. The place where Simri first scouted you? Perhaps?
Excellent. It seems like to be a bountiful adventure of civility.
The most popular pub in town is called The Last Stand. However, where she actually met you was the least popular in town, which is to say the only other pub after The Last Stand, the Ark and Lark. But there are two
The only
pubs.
one with a ladies' night.
So you have two choices: where we first met, or so before she first contracted you, before the scene began,
First
where
met.
or the more rowdy establishment, popular.
Well, we were told to show our support, so I say we go to the rowdy one.
Righto.
Yes. What's the worst that could happen?
Garion, look, chicken.
Drawing your attention to the map, starting at the bottom right corner, heading towards the center, do you see the town wall?
Yes.
Near the town wall is sort of a big brown patch of a field. Do you see this?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Directly north is an orange building. That is the last stand. And where you are headed.
Outside the walls.
Inside the walls.
Inside the walls.
Inside the
Right.
wall. There's only 3 of these big grassy patches, brownish yellow, in the town itself. The one on the bottom right of the map, just inside the wall, and just north of that, I would say it's cross-shaped, but the edges are stubby. One of the orange buildings, right on the other side of the road there, is the last stand, and where you are headed.